And thank you very much for joining us this evening for a day in pre-K. And as you know, we're doing these for each grade level, except of course the Explorers, because they don't really have a moving up into Explorers. It's our entry point. But what this does is it gives our teachers, a couple of teachers from each team have joined us, and they'll go through the program. And then we always want to leave plenty of time at the end for lots of questions. And that's why we don't do it in a webinar format. We do it so we can see everybody. So please feel free to ask questions, whether we're going through them at the beginning, or you can wait until the end. We don't normally use the chat room. It's just easier to just ask your question out loud. But we do hope and thank you. And as I was saying, while some of you were joining us, there's lots of things we look forward to leaving behind when we're done with COVID. And getting back to a normal school life. But one of the areas that we found that parents seem to be utilizing more is like for parent conferences and evenings like this. We get a lot more parents joining us. It's a lot easier if you're at work, if things are going on during the day. Even our parent book club, we have larger numbers when we are online. So there may be a few things that we continue to do or offer it both ways. In an online format with Zoom or in person. But thanks again for joining us this evening, and we look forward to the program. I'm going to introduce Brelly Fahrenkopf, and Brelly is our Associate Director of the lower school and also the Director of the Early Childhood Program. And at Academy, the Early Childhood Program is the Explorers, which is the 3-year-olds, pre-K, and kindergarten. So Brelly, I'll let you take it from here.
Hi, everyone. Glad you could be here tonight. This is such a fun time of year in the lower school as a whole, but especially in the Explorer rooms. You know, we've seen so many big changes in the kids over, gosh, just the last few weeks even. And they're getting ready for pre-K. It's super exciting. They're getting bigger, they're getting more independent, they're just growing up in so many ways. So we're excited to share the pre-K program with you and give you just some insights into what's going to happen when the children move up next year.
Thank you, Brelly. And now I'd like to introduce Paul Kegelmeyer, and Paul is our Director of Academic Programs. And Paul, good evening.
Good evening, Mark. Thank you. I just wanted to say that I think Brelly has the better gig at times, because being with the young ones, especially early in the morning, when you come to school and you want to start your day off right, there's nothing like seeing these kids in their room. And I call it playing to learn and learning to play. And they're having fun and they don't even know they're learning. It's just great. It's great to see them. And again, a cup of coffee and seeing them in the morning just makes my day. And we appreciate having your son or daughter here at Columbus Academy. And I know that you will learn a lot more tonight as a rising pre-K parent.
Thank you, Paul. And just as exciting as it is to join in and to see the energy in the morning, there have been plenty of days when I've walked through coming in from the kind of the blacktop playground in the afternoon, and it's dark and it's quiet and those kids are all fast asleep. And I thought many a times it'd be nice if I had a cot and I could just go in and close my eyes for a few minutes. And now I'd like to introduce Becky and Sarah. And Becky and Sarah are two of our pre-K teachers, and they're going to be presenting tonight, and they're actually here at school. So Becky Gleek and Sarah Penny, good evening, and I'm going to turn it over to you, and just please let me know whenever you'd like me to change the slide and to go on to the next slide.
Thanks, Mark. All right, good. Well, I'm Sarah Penny. I have been teaching at Columbus Academy for a really long time. I have one daughter who's gone through Columbus Academy, as well as 3 boys who are currently here. I have been in pre-K for 5 years. Before that, I taught 2nd grade, and before that, I taught kindergarten. So it's been a blast. And when I lived in New York, I taught 3rd and 4th grade. So I've done all the grades. I'm waiting for 1st grade. We'll see. But for now, I'm hanging out in pre-K.
Hi, I'm Becky Gleek. This is my 5th year at CA, but this is my 17th year, I think, in education, mostly in kindergarten. And then I moved to pre-K last year, and Sarah and I were actually teammates last year. So we've been working together a lot through the pandemic, and we had a lot of fun trying to figure that out when we went online, and had a lot of fun making some morning videos. Every morning we were talking to each other at 7:30 in the morning, recording videos for our morning message. So I'm happy to be here with Sarah and talking to all of you tonight about all the joys of pre-K. I loved what Paul said, learning to play and playing to learn. That's kind of what our whole program's about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel really lucky because this is like the closest I've been to Becky in like a year. So we're happy that, we have been vaccinated and we're here together. So, all right, Mark, we're ready. Tabletops and morning meetings. Woohoo! In pre-K, we start our day. The kids come on into the classrooms and we start our day with tabletops. Tabletops are just different activities that engage the kids and get them to talk with one another and start their day in an easy way and in a fun way, because we want them to be immediately engaged. And the great thing about tabletops is we can sit and put out puzzles, and if one child struggles with puzzles and is working on spatial reasoning, they have a simpler puzzle than a child who needs something a little more advanced. And then we can kind of adjust, like Paul said, they're playing, but they're also learning. And it's a great time because they trickle in the morning. So it's a great time for us to just kind of spend time with each one of them as they come in, and then, really engage with them. So I think the beginning, as Paul said, it's a beautiful time. So I love the morning. It's one of my favorite things. Want to talk about morning meeting?
Yeah. Then we move into morning meeting, which is a time when we get to greet each other. We always say a greeting, and every child gets a turn to share something. Could be favorite color or favorite food, or it could be part of the greeting or what you did over the weekend, especially on Mondays. That's always a favorite to share what their news was, something fun they did over the weekend. We do some sort of fun activity like a game. You might be familiar with "This is not a" from the Explorers, or "This is not a cardboard tube, it's a telescope." So we do that. And then we incorporate a lot of calendar. We incorporate a lot of math and those types of concepts into our morning meetings through calendar. You can probably see behind me that we've got like 100 chart that's counting the days of school, and it ends up looking like 100s chart, and then we can count by 10s and 2s and 1s. And so that's one of our core educational times. That's also a fun time to play, and we do silly songs sometimes.
Yes.
It's also a big part of pre-K, but it's just incorporating a lot of different skills into a greeting and an activity.
Yeah, that's fun. Morning meeting is great. All right, Mark. Stations. So stations are a great time. First 6 weeks of school, obviously, we're just building that community, so we don't start stations until after that. But stations are a great time where students are paired up with a partner or a trio, sometimes depending on the number of kids and what the activities are. And then they engage in different activities. This week, my class finished up stations. One group was doing games galore. They were doing the Zingo playing Zingo. Another group was writing their numbers, practicing their numbers in sand and in sprinkles. Another group, and that group, each child we can differentiate for. So, one of my kids, who did it today was working on numbers 1 through 10 and writing those with the proper orientation. Another child was working on 11 through 20 and writing those numbers. So stations are a time that we can differentiate and we can rotate around the room. And you can see on the slide, we have discovery, which is science. We have listening station. We have a creation station where they get to do all sorts of things, practice cutting and gluing, which is something we work on all year, as well as writing, handwriting, math, ABCs, obviously building those English language arts skills, even in pre-K, and then building fine motor, and then games. So definitely cooperative learning happening, even in pandemic times, as best we can.
It's also a time when we can work one-on-one with students as needed. If a student needs something a little bit harder, we can work with them on something more difficult, or if a student is struggling with pencil grip or something that they just need a few minutes with us to work on. It's a great time for us to be able to sit one-on-one with a child as well. Okay, Mark.
More station fun, woohoo! And it just keeps going.
Station's really one of their
my
most favorite
gosh.
time
Yeah.
of the day. They really
Yeah.
look forward to stations and are really bummed if we don't get to stations that day.
It is, I know, you think, okay, sure. I mean, it's not that much. It's a short period of time. It's about 15 minutes, but they do not have stations, they are definitely unhappy. Free choice. This is where wonderful things happen. Free choice is a time where the students get to pick what they're engaging in and who they're playing with. And so we know from study after study the importance of play and how it develops the whole child, certainly builds their communication skills, their problem solving skills, and then emotional regulation, as you can see our list there, and certainly fine motor, gross motor. We have Legos happening and Play-Doh, and we have all sorts of building materials. And then there are those students who are busy playing house, and the students who are building puzzles, and then students who are creating things like a toilet paper tube, telescope, among other things. Today, my kids were having a blast zipping up a zipper and practicing that, and they were practicing tying and lacing. And so some of the things that we might have out for tabletops, if they're still interested in that, or they were really excited because when we finish stations, sometimes I'll say, okay, now this station will be on the shelf for you to play with. And they were so excited because we have a balancing and addition monkey. And so they were balancing and saying, did you know that 9 plus 2 is 11? This is a balance. I'm like, yes, you got it. Yes, you're adding. So free choice is a lot of fun, and we play tons and tons of games, and it's a fun time to see them in action and for us to get a lot of information about the kids.
And they learn a lot from each other
Yeah.
too. They watch what their friends are doing, and some try to emulate what they built out of the Legos or what they built out of the blocks, or they learn to draw a heart or a star, and they look to their peers. It's a great time for them to be learning from their peers during those times.
Lots of fun. Dramatic play during free choice. So we have obviously want to make sure that there's a lot of imaginative play going on. And this year, I think the pandemic, there are things that, we have had to pull back on. They aren't wearing costumes, but they're using their imaginations. And I think it's been really great to see how little they really need. And I think, I told Becky, I told the team, I think at our last team meeting, I'm like, the number of people that have come and just, when we're outside, and other teachers said, my gosh, I'm watching my kids play outside and use their imagination so much more because they don't have the playground, and they're engaging with one another has been amazing. And that's what we get to see all the time. So dramatic play, we definitely encourage them to, become a doctor or become a mailman, or to play house and play with baby dolls, and act out all sorts of things. I would say that they're not always people. Most of the time they're animals, but it's a male cat, as in delivering mail to other kittens. But it's amazing what pre-cares can come up with.
And we put out different themes
Yeah.
often, and sometimes they'll go with the theme, like a vet school or
Yeah.
something, and then other times they use the props and things in completely
Yeah.
imaginative
Yeah.
ways. So
Yeah.
that's always fun to watch.
Yeah,
too.
it's great. Yeah, it's super fun to see what they come up with. So
We start writing right at the beginning of the year, and writing might seem like an odd term to use for pre-K, but they draw their pictures of their story, and they're able to look back at their writing in their journals, and they can tell you the story. And then at the beginning of the year, one of us will go in and we'll write some keywords so that we can refer back to it. But typically by the end of the year, they're learning how to label their own pictures and starting to write stories all on their own. Even if all the letters aren't there, they can still go back and read it, and they're putting those sounds and stuff together. That's what they're doing right now. So it's great to see their progress from the beginning of the year, from what they were drawing at the beginning of the year with maybe not very many details, to some of these pictures you can see on your screen where they're actually writing sentences or coloring the whole page or adding hands and arms and legs and eyes to their people instead of just a couple circles with sticks. We work on developing those skills and adding those types of details to their writings and drawings in their journal, it's so interesting. It's another great time for them to be imaginative. Sometimes we give them something to write about specifically, and sometimes they're able to just have some free time to write in their journals. And it's always great to walk around and see what it is their story is about.
And it's really neat because we talk about, how authors revisit their work. And so just like the big kids are doing, they're revising and editing, the kids go back, and it's, this class in particular, my class has really bought into that this year, and they have added so many things. And we really, sometimes you go through, 30 journals of tornadoes. They're all tornadoes. And we love tornadoes, but there's more. Tell me about what's happening in that tornado. What got picked up by the tornado? What was the weather like before? What can you show me? How can you show me? Tell me more of the story. And so they have really, gone deep, and and so they haven't used as many journals as I thought they would because they're going back and they're adding great details to those things. So it's I love it, and it's fun when they say, okay, journal time is over, and they're like, wait, just a few more minutes, and you're like, oh,
Can I keep writing?
yes, you may. So.
The phonics dance in pre-K, we do a lot of singing and dancing because it's such a great tool for the children to learn. Most of them are totally on board with that. Even the ones who maybe don't love to sing and dance, they're still at least shaking a little bit, and
we get them all to do it.
Usually the phonics dance is just a tool we use to teach the alphabet and the sounds the letters make, and each letter has a little chant and a little dance that goes along with it. So we just like with everything else in pre-K, we build. So we start with one letter, and we don't go in alphabetical order. We go in a prescribed order that's developmentally appropriate, and then eventually start building some words and things. But we build the letters in different ways with our bodies. We make the movements with our arms or with our pinkies or with our big toes or with our eyeballs, and that's their favorite.
When you make a J with your head, everybody, and you have a whole class doing these goofy movements, but they accept the strange things that we make them do, and they love it because they're 4 and 5. Co-curricular classes. So in pre-K, we go to 2 music classes. We have two music classes, and these are all in a 6-day rotation. The kids go to Spanish as well. PE and art is once in a 6-day rotation. Swimming, library, and then wellness with Mr. Diddy. So sometimes called counselor time, but wellness is the overall title of the time with Mr. Diddy. So those are the co-curriculars of pre-K. Forest Fridays. So this is a little different. I know that the explorers go outside every day, and we go outside every day as well. All of the pre-Ks have a morning outdoor playtime, and so we spend probably about a half an hour each morning, depending on if there's a fire drill or not. We all get outside in the morning, but Forest Fridays are days where they do get to dress down and spend the day outside. So minus specials, we have to come in for those. And sometimes, we can convince the specialist teacher or the co-curricular teacher to come out and do some fun things with us, depending on what they're teaching in their class. So it's a lot of fun.
we even started requesting bagged lunches, or this year, right now,
Yes.
lunch is a little different anyway, but last year we requested bagged lunches when the weather's nice, so we can actually just come inside, grab our lunch and go right back outside. Especially this year with all the wonderful outdoor spaces that have been set up with the tree stumps. I'm trying to say trunk.
Yes, yes.
Tree stumps. They're
They
a great
were.
place for us to go have snack or to take our lunch outside and do that. So it's fun. It's exploratory, much like they're doing in the Explorers program. And it's great to be able to get outside every Friday, rain or shine or snow or wind.
Yeah,
We're going out.
we're going out, and they love it. Service learning is something that's important to pre-K. Obviously, it's important to Columbus Academy from 3YO or from Explorers through 12th grade. But in pre-K, we make a point to discuss our classroom community as well as our school community and our local community, and how we can contribute to those different places or those different communities that we are all a part of. And so each month, this year we didn't make cookies, but we did for Faith Mission. The Faith Mission, the upper school delivers food once a month to Faith Mission. And so pre-K was baking cookies for Faith Mission for the last few years. And we hope to reinstate that next year. We've been drawing cards, making cards, and Nurse Hoagland, as well as a couple of the upper school teachers deliver them each month. And I know Becky Hoagland says that's their favorite thing, that they are so amazed that the people serving or that are at Faith Mission are just overwhelmed by the fact that these little ones are writing sweet notes to them. So and the kids really understand that this is an important learning opportunity and something that they can do to brighten someone's day. We also in school, we helped last year plant some Ohio native plants near our pond, and we've mulched pathways and we've delivered paper snowflakes throughout the school. And so we just try and regularly come back to service learning and what can we do here in our school community, what can we do for our local community? And then also pairing up with other grades we've done in years past, and that's been a blast. We've had Mrs. Eads, who's a middle school drama teacher. She's come in and she has her middle school students practice their speeches on pre-K and they get to rate the how well the middle schoolers read their book and a little bit of their speech. They read a book to them as well. And it's really fun. The pre-Kers are really honest. They're like, well, that was good, but I couldn't really, you need to be a little louder, or, so they do give some really good feedback. And then we have a pre-K garden out by the greenhouse. And so we've planted with an 8th grade advisory and done lots of different things, trying to reach out to other grades and connect. So math groups. Math groups is a blast. We mix the kids up from the different pre-K classes, and we introduce them to different concepts as well as different manipulatives. So, during one round of math stations, maybe Becky has geoboards and I have pattern blocks. And so we're introducing them to all sorts of fun math manipulatives and getting them to think about, math concepts, but also learning to work with different kids and different teachers with different teaching styles. And so I think there are just, it's a multitude of great things happening in math groups. It's always a blast. It's lots of fun. And it's fun for us as teachers to get to learn and, learn about different kids from different classrooms.
Mm-hmm. Outdoor play, as Sarah said, we go outside at least 30 minutes, usually mid-morning. Typically, we'll have kids when they arrive at school might even have time for recess time in a typical year. And then we go outside for about 30 minutes in the morning, and we go outside for 30 to 40 minutes in the afternoon too. So that's the minimum amount of time we spend outside. When the weather gets a little nicer like this, as I said, we sometimes like to take snack outside in the afternoon or try to get out for something. Today, the band was playing on the bleachers. They were practicing. So that was fun to go watch. So if there's something going on outside, we also like to get out there too. What was it last year? A big truck came and moved something, and that was really fun too.
Yeah.
So
the pod.
yes, it was moving the pods, things like that are just so interesting for our pre-Kers. We love to try to take advantage of being outside whenever we can and take advantage of those learning opportunities.
We used to look for the Rumpke truck coming at noon and and beeping the horn. We're outdoor play. Woo. Amy Lester, do you recognize that kid in the middle?
Buddies is so fun for pre-K. They get third grade buddies, and it's actually really fun for the third graders because it's the first time they get to be the older buddy, and they take their jobs very seriously. And they are very sweet with the pre-Kers. So each pre-Ker will have one or two buddies depending on the class size. This year we've even made buddies work by doing outdoor hikes, socially distanced hiked, or meeting on the football field to exchange Valentines. They sent videos to each other, which were just amazing.
They're super sweet.
Drawing letters for each other. So we've even made it work this year, but we definitely try to get together with our buddies. Maybe not every week, but as much as we can. That works in the third grade schedule. Their wax museum we can go to and cheer our buddies on for their wax museum. And the pre-Kers love it, but the third graders especially love it.
Yeah. Birthday celebrations in pre-K. A family member comes in and reads a book to the class, and then we sing a birthday song and we share a treat. That's a quick one. Yeah.
This year we were able to do it via Zoom, which still worked. Not quite as great, but we're still making it work.
Holidays and celebrations, we certainly encourage families to come in and talk about and share things from their cultural heritage, but also what are your family traditions, and they don't have to revolve around a holiday. Certainly, if you are a really good bagpipe player, we'll have you rock out in the classroom.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be. Sign up now. If you are really good at hula hooping, we'd love to have you. If you are really good at making some delicious food, we definitely would love to have you. So we want parents to be in the classrooms. And I know this year, obviously it's been a little different, but even via Zoom, reading a book and sending in a video of you reading your favorite book from when you were 4 or 5. That's great. We would love any connections that you can make. And we certainly, we just really enjoy that. And we know that the kids enjoy it as well. And they learn so much about one another. It's really, really important. So also we do a Halloween party. We do a Valentine's Day party. We have 100th day celebration. We have pancakes and PJs. We just had that before spring break, right before spring break. And it's always a blast. We have all sorts of fun games. You even get to, toss some pancakes in the air. So Mark and Brelly and Paul even have to clean up the hallway this year. We were in our classrooms. Fewer pancakes in the hallway, but still lots of fun.
Yeah, pancakes and PJs is one of the best days of the year. And the fact that we were in our rooms and got to throw pancakes in our rooms was mind blowing, but it was so much fun, and it's really our best day. And some of the toppings on the pancakes, some of them only eat the toppings on the pancakes, but they looked delicious, and it's a really fun day to kick off spring, really.
Yeah. Brelly was a little heavy handed with the chocolate chips, so they really enjoyed it.
I went crazy with the whipped cream too.
And then we have Star Student. Each child brings in 8 to 10 photos, a special item, a book to read to the class. The teacher will read to the class. And then we last year, Becky and I came up with an idea about parents or family members sharing a story about their star, their student. And that was a lot of fun because all of the stories were so completely different. And it was just something, that was just a little bit more unique, and we got to learn about the child, in just in a different way, and see the child through their parents' eyes, which was so monumentally special. So we would love to do that again.
Wellness time with Mr. Diddy is one of our co-curriculars that was new this year, and you can see one of the students doing some belly breaths, and they do a little yoga and deep breathing and mindful moments, and just coming back to that center and balance, and teaching the whole child and learning how to control emotions sometimes when it can be difficult to control your emotions.
Cooking. We do lots of cooking in pre-K. This year, we really had to rethink our cooking game, especially with some classes not having the stove. Sorry. But we do lots of cooking. When pre-pandemic, we did lots of things together, which was really nice. Different classes coming together at different things for different cooking experiences. And then sometimes it's just our class together. But we do tons of cooking. We bake banana bread, and we make monkey bread, and we mash potatoes, as you can see. And
some things are a hit and some things aren't. I did bananas with the chocolate chips the other day, and those were not a hit. But monkey bread is a hit.
Monkey bread is a hit. Yes.
We tried new things.
Then we have discovery, which are our science activities in the afternoon. So our extended day consists of recess and lunch, and then rest time. And some of our specials are in the afternoon. And then we have a shorter time for cooking. Sometimes we'll need to start cooking in the morning and then finish in the afternoon. And we do the same thing. Discovery is a science time in the afternoon. So we do different experiments. So we may be, watching color change, doing color mixing, or doing magnets, or using our 5 senses to make predictions about something. Last week we used ivory soap to make kind of snowy, a snowy mess is what we made, which was lots of fun. And then we talked about why does ivory soap, because there's pockets in here, it's lighter soap than regular soap, and all the predictions and all of the things that they are learning are always lots of fun to see them thinking through, and wait, why is this sinking? Why is this floating? And so learning about the world around them through discovery, through science. And then Build It Bee Day is always a blast.
We did Build It Bee Day this week, and they had to build a wall that Humpty Dumpty, a plastic egg, could sit on without falling off. So just trying to figure out how they figured out that they could lay him down, but then how could they make him stand up and not fall off the wall? So we try to come up with interesting things that they can build.
They are very creative. They come up with all sorts of things. And then what are the major differences between the Explorers and pre-K? Dress code every day, except for Forest Fridays. Extra clothes, or we ask that they be dress code as well. At age 3 and 4, there's some kids, doesn't matter. But for some kids, it does. They are more aware of the fact that they're in different clothing than their classmates and their peers. And so we want to make sure that, everybody just feels comfortable. And so extra clothes or dress code clothes. They will get morning recess. They get to play outside, fingers crossed. We have lunch in the dining hall, fingers crossed. Forest Fridays happen in pre-K, and then we have swimming, which is new for this age group, and then Spanish as well. We have social, which again, we mix the kids, and we work through different social emotional problems or modeling. And then we mix up classes, as you've heard us say. And then we get to go to all of the curricular classes from the beginning of the year. So that's a little different from the Explorers, and a little bit different than this year all around, but that's it.
Well, thank you so much, Becky and Sarah, for that terrific presentation. And now we want to open it up for questions that you may have. So feel free to just unmute yourself. And if you have any questions you'd like to ask our two of our pre-K teachers, this is a great time to do so.
I like this group already.
I have a question. So this year, my 4-year-old is doing half days, and it looks like next year, starting in January, everyone goes full day. Is that true?
Yes.
That's correct.
Is that just to help them transition into kindergarten?
Yeah. And we find that the afternoons are so important for them. Just the socialization where they get recess and lunch. And so there's even more time for them to, yes, to get together and figure out how to communicate well. I'm sure Elliot is amazing because she's got 2 big siblings. So
Trying to go full day. I hear about it all the time. But
Aw.
I'm not ready. We'll see. You're gonna have to force me.
Other questions? Well, I have to say the origination of Forest Friday was almost 4 years ago, and it was Sarah Penny. When I first started here, I was meeting with each teacher individually to find out more about what they did in the school and kind of things that they were involved in. And Sarah said, I have this idea. I went to this conference last spring, and I'd like to get it so our kids go outside every Friday. And I said, well, you have 5 other colleagues in pre-K that you're going to have to convince to make this a reality. And that was the start of it. So there's been lots of great ideas that have bubbled up through our pre-K program that are now, the Forest Fridays are through first grade now and have developed and grown so much. So a big hats off to our pre-K crew. But we still have time for a few questions if you have any. No more questions. Okay. Well, Becky and Sarah, thank you so much for walking us through all those great slides. And it's always interesting as you go through those now, living in a COVID world, when you see all those kids right next to each other and their arms around each other, and it almost kind of makes you squirm a little bit, because I feel like saying,
why are they
"Hey,
all
you guys gotta
together?
be six."
What were we thinking?
But I think we all look forward to the day when we can be together in our pods and our buddies, and all those things we can say goodbye to and hello to, seeing our grade level buddies and being able to be much closer to each other and in the dining hall and all sorts of things. So hopefully that will be when we return in the fall. But thank you again so much for joining us tonight. And if you have any other questions that come up that you think about in the coming weeks, feel free to reach out to Brelly, Paul, or I, and we'll pass them on to the pre-K team. And if you have children in other grade levels, we've got the next couple of weeks are full of these kind of evenings, and we look forward to you joining us. Tomorrow night, there's a special one, and it's a Q&A with our school nurses. And so I hope if you've got some time tomorrow, I know our PACA parents have asked for questions, and they've prepared answers to the questions that some of you have had. And we are very fortunate at Academy to have just 2 outstanding nurses that have probably put in more hours this year than I don't think you could possibly sustain for as long as they have. And for every COVID case, possible case, concern, and then just all the other regular illnesses and things that happen in schools, they have really been leading us this year in such a terrific way. So if you have time tomorrow night, it's from 7 to 8 as well. And it's kind of more of a webinar format, but please join us for that. And you can get lots of answers to how our nurses work at the school and kind of how our protocols as we are in COVID. So again, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we look forward to seeing you in person soon. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, you.